We're taking a look at some different suppressors today. Suppressors are not illegal. They've been regulated since 1934 according to the National Firearms Act, but they've been legal ever since they've been invented. And in some states they're regulated, in some states they're prohibited, but for the most part they're totally legal everywhere. We're going to take a look at a couple of different ones here. I'm just looking at quantity, not so much, I'm not lining them up for caliber because we run the gambit here from 222 up to 223. So quite a few different calibers represented, a couple of different companies, and lots of different sizes. So I figured we'd just kind of run through some of the extremes in suppressors these days. Starting over here on the left, we've got a couple from SWR. SWR is out in South Carolina. This is their steel Spectre for a 22. Next up is their Warlock, again for the 22. Much lighter though, made out of aluminum, so much lighter. Supposedly a lot quieter too, although we haven't tested that one personally yet. This one that's on a pistol is a TAC-65 made by Technical Innovations out of Idaho. Next up we have a Gemtech Outback II, pretty much the smallest 22 suppressor out there. This one's also made in Idaho by Gemtech. All of these are Gemtechs as well. This one is a Raptor, so this one is for a 9mm. This next one is a Gemtech Tundra, another 9mm. The third 9mm one, this one is a Massad II. This one's made for the Uzi specifically, again 9mm. Next up is another Gemtech. This one's the Blackslide. This is a 45 caliber, a little shorter but a little fatter than the 9mm. And then the last two are for 223 for AR-15s. This one is a Gemtech HALO. And last up, best for last, is the Surefire, what is it, the 5.56 212. So this one uses the proprietary flash suppressor that locks in, and a quick attachment for their suppressor. Hands down, I think most people agree that the Surefire is the best 223 suppressor out there today. I figured I'd take a look at some of the differences between them, and that usually has to do with, well, of course, the how loud they are, how quiet they make a rifle or a pistol. But since I can't shoot today, I'm in an indoor facility here. We take a look at the other things that set the different suppressors apart, and that is weight and size. So we'll start again at the 22 side, and we're going to start with this Spectre. Most suppressors, in fact just about everyone I've seen, comes with a manual which gives you some information about it. For example, this one can be used with 223, 17 HMR, 22 mag, and 5.7 by 28, so this would work on a PS90 or a 5.7. It gives you some information about how to clean it, repair it, and then how to put it back together if you do take it apart. The SWRs come with these nylon sheets, which are actually pretty decent, held on by Velcro, and they don't scratch up or mar the finish on them. This one does come apart, and it comes with its own tool. The tool is basically a nut with some notches in it, and those notches line up with these slots on the back. They also work up front, and that would allow you to take the caps off, clean it. You're going to talk to different people with different opinions on cleaning suppressors. I feel they're a lot like mufflers. They don't need to necessarily be cleaned, but some people do want to be able to clean them, and they buy them in this configuration so that they can come apart. Let's take a length on this one. Overall length is just about exactly 6 inches on the Spectre. If we turn the scale back on and we weigh it, we're looking at 8.6 ounces for this one. So 8.6 ounces, 6 inches long. This next one by SWR, the Warlock, is basically the same, a little bit smaller, but basically the same size, about the same diameter, and doesn't come apart. It's made out of aluminum. We'll take a look at the length, which is a little over 5.5 inches, so I'm guessing 5 5/16, something like that. And if we weigh this one, much lighter, 3.6 ounces. Again, it comes with the manual, similar manual. This one happens to be 8 pages long. And when we look at the calibers that it works with, you only see 22 long rifle listed. And the reason for that is because it's aluminum, it doesn't have it can't withstand the pressure that the steel one can. So there's some pros and cons for the materials that you get your suppressor made out of. Next up is this TAC-65, again made by Tactical Innovations out of Idaho. And this one is on a SIG Sour Mosquito. The SIG is a 22 caliber semi-auto. It's a scaled down version of the 226. Just a great gun for shooting with a suppressor. This one has the metric thread, so it has an adapter here that brings it out, which is I believe what most of the suppressors are. The TAC-65 though is again a suppressor that does come apart. It's got some holes around here, so it has a very similar type of removal tool that you can bust it open and take it all apart and clean it. This one's a little bit longer than the other ones we looked at. This one's about 6 inches as well. A little bit bigger diameter too. And this one is 4 ounces on the dot. 4 ounces exactly. Kind of got an idea what that one looked like on the pistol. But you can see that the same thread is what most of the suppressors use in the US. Most suppressors come in a black color, except for some of the rifle suppressors you can get in different colors. Next up we have the Outback II from Gemtech. To my knowledge this is the smallest of all the 22 suppressors, and their manual is basically cardstock, just 2 pages, folded into 2 pages. Again, it's pretty much the smallest one out there. It's 5 inches on the dot, and it weighs only 2.8 ounces. So the nice thing about this one is once you've got this one on your pistol, very easy, it just sort of disappears. So it's on the pistol, and the small diameter you'll see on these 22s lend themselves to the sights, so the sights will see right over the top of the suppressor. So that's the 4 different versions and the 3 different companies that we have for 22 caliber suppressors, and you can see the gambit pretty much runs from a 6 inch and 8.6 ounce to a 5 inch and only 2.8 ounces. So almost negligible with this little Outback II. Next we have is the 9mm Raptor. The Raptor has a Tri-lug adapter, so this one attaches to MP5 style subguns. Instead of having a threaded adapter, it has this Tri-lug. So this one uses the Tri-lug adapter, and what that's got is a plunger inside of the base of the suppressor. And on an MP5 like this one, there's 3 lugs on the barrel, and these are going to fit in, push in just a hair, and then turn. And now it's locked into place on there. So again, it's going to lock in with the lugs and then lock into place. Real handy suppressor. Very easy to remove and put back on. Works great with a little subgun like this MP5. The Raptor is 9 inches long and weighs 10 ounces on the dot. So the Raptor is a 9-inch suppressor that weighs 10 ounces. Next up, we've got the Tundra. The Tundra is another 9mm suppressor from Gemtech. And this one is a typical pistol suppressor. Says it should mount This is a perfect one for a Glock or for really any semi-auto 9mm pistol. This one is about 8 inches long. And it weighs 8.2 ounces. So you're adding 8.2 ounces and 8 inches to the front of your pistol. What you may notice on this one when you have it behind a Glock is that it's up over the top of the sights. And what that means is that you can no longer really use your sights effectively. You sort of have to adjust for that. Next up is this Massad II, and the Massad is for the Uzi, so it's a specific one, just like the Raptor is specific to the HKs. And it basically simply replaces the bolt here, or excuse me, it simply replaces the barrel nut. So we push the detent and remove the barrel nut, and we just swap it out. It just has a large threaded opening. And then once it's threaded on, it locks into place with the detent. So another really cool suppressor, sort of a single one-trick pony for the Uzi. Real easy to get it off. You just sort of push that detent in with your hand until it releases, and then just unscrew it. And then you would just keep your barrel nut handy, swap it out. Massad is a little bit larger one. I guess it's the largest one we've got out here. It's 10 inches long and weighs 10.8 ounces. So it's made out of aluminum. It's not one of the heavier ones. Well, it might be the heaviest one we got out. Well, it's not quite the heaviest one we have out here, but it's definitely the longest one. Next up, we have a Blackslide. Blackslide is the 45 suppressor for most semi-auto pistols. This one works great on HKs and Glocks and SIGs. Pretty much anything that can work with a suppressor. Fairly compact compared to a 9mm suppressor. It's a bit shorter and a little bit fatter. This one is about 6 3/4 inches long, and it weighs 5.4 ounces. So it doesn't weigh too much. In fact, it seems like it weighs less than the 9, but I suspect that's because of the length of the 9. Brings the weight out in front of you a little bit more. Next, we're moving to the 223, so rifle caliber cans. And this is probably one of the heavier ones that we've got out here. This is a Gemtech HALO. So it's designed to work with AR-15, and it's got an interesting attachment system. This nut comes off the back, your suppressor, and then we're going to take an AR, like this one. Just test it real fast. Nothing in it. Now this one has a Vortex muzzle device, and the new versions of the HALO have notches in there. I don't know, probably not going to be able to see them, but first off the nut goes on, and it's sort of an interesting cutout there, and that's designed so that the front slides over, and then it just sort of sits for a moment. Then with the notches in the suppressor, this will come on and kind of fit into place, and then you slide this nut forward, and it's going to snug up to the back of that muzzle device. So now it's not going to spin, and it's not going to go backwards or forwards. So again, made for the AR-15, real nice suppressor. These will quiet a gun down, but they won't remove the sound, of course. 223 is a very loud round to begin with, so this brings it down to, most people suggest it brings the 223 down to about a 9mm sound, or the loudness of a 9mm. So with its two pieces, this one will measure in at about 7¼ inches long, and this one weighs 1 pound 5.8 ounces. So this one will be our heaviest one. Now the HALO is designed to work with its own sort of nut there, and it needs a peel washer. So what they offer is a set of muzzle device alignment sets here, and the half 28 threads that the AR uses. This allows you to set your muzzle device into exactly where you want it, so that it'll work with the suppressor. And its manual is a little longer than the pistol manuals. You talk about its parts, its lifespan, its troubleshooting, attaching it to a rifle, and so on. So it goes into a little more detail. It's just a little more intricate than the pistol suppressors. And then again, best for last is we'll do the Surefire suppressor. And this one is one of my favorites. It uses the Surefire proprietary muzzle device, and it's got this triangle shaped notch in it, and that goes into a post in there, and it aligns to the suppressor, and then their nut here is built into the suppressor, and that just tightens. Once it's tightened, it's on the gun, and to remove it, there's just this lever. You untighten it, and it falls right off the end of your rifle. Real good suppressor. It's 6½ inches long, and should weigh 1 pound exactly. 1 pound exactly. The Surefire suppressor comes with its own rock set and shims, so you have to attach your muzzle device. They give you this chart, and it's probably best to have a gunsmith or an AR armorer who's done this before do it for you, because basically what this is going to do is go over the barrel of your rifle, and then you're going to set this according to the chart and the procedure, so that, because this will actually increase the accuracy of your rifle, you want to have the foundation, the muzzle device, installed correctly and installed true to the indexing of your barrel, so that every time this suppressor gets attached, it's going on correctly and giving you that advantage in accuracy. It comes with a manual, like most Surefire stuff. Decent manual, 15 pages long, shows you how to clean it. This one actually does come with a brush. It's not for cleaning the baffles, it's for cleaning this back area, clean out any carbon that might accumulate. It also comes with a well-made pouch with a PALS attachment in the back. Nice pouch, easy to carry it in with a side snap buckle. So again, one of our favorite suppressors. They're definitely one of the most expensive ones too, though, unfortunately. So that's a little rundown on a couple of different suppressors here. It looks like we looked at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different suppressors here. If you're interested in getting a suppressor, it's not super difficult. You do have to do some extra paperwork, some fingerprints, some photographs, and send in some paperwork to the federal government. But once you do all that, you've got a suppressor. And with the 22s, they'll fire to where, like movies, they're almost gone. The 9mm will let you shoot without earring protection. The 45 is definitely not quiet, but it's definitely quieter. It'll bring it down to maybe an unsilenced 22 level, and then your 223 cans will definitely bring it down to about an unsilenced 9mm type of sound level. So again, we're looking at that Spectre. We're looking at the Warlock, front and back. We're looking at the TAC-22, front and back. We're looking at that Gemtech Outback II in front and back. This is the Raptor, from the front and the back with the Tri-lugs for that MP5. This is the Tundra from the front. You can see the baffles in there, and then the back threaded. We've got the Massad II for the Uzi from the front, and from the back with the Uzi barrel nut type of attachment. We've got the Blackslide 45 from the front. You can definitely see the baffles in this one. And then from the back with its threaded, and you'll see there's a big gob of grease in there right now. And then this one is Gemtech HALO from the front, and then from the back with its collar slash attachment nut. And then the Surefire from the front and from the back with its